Hey guys, welcome back for another episode of The Suited Shootist. And this week, as the title suggests, I am going to be giving you my impressions of the Swampfox Liberty pistol red dot. Before that, just a couple of quick administrative things. Number one, super excited. My Patreon is now live, so the link will be in the description for details of that. And I got the stickers on order that I talked about last week. So if you are not already following the Facebook page as well as my Instagram, I would definitely go ahead and do that because that is probably where I'm going to be handling that for the time being. So aside from that, the other thing I wanted to touch on real quick was unfortunately I hadn't heard any response from the gentleman that won the little swag giveaway for breaking 1,000 subscribers. So I went ahead and picked a new candidate. So Josh Patterson, congratulations, you are the winner. I will go ahead and drop you a comment where I can. If you see this, please shoot me an email so that way we can get that sorted out and sent out to you. Again, guys, thank you so much for the support. So before I start jumping into this, I want to address a couple of questions that I'm sure are going to come up. Number one is this going to turn into a pandering gear review channel where I'm doing nothing but whoring myself out for clicks and for sponsors? Absolutely not. Secondly, do I have a relationship with Swampfox? I do. I am friends with their marketing director. He's actually helped me with the videography on a couple of things. He and I have been friends for years, actually, at this point, before he even signed on with Swampfox. So bear that in mind. I do try and maintain as much objectivity as I can, especially given the fact that I'm talking about emergency life-saving rescue gear. So I take that very seriously. Bad information has the ability to get people hurt and killed. I know at least a half a dozen people far more qualified and capable than myself that have also opted to put Swampfox dots on their guns, and I'm going to go into the decisions that led me to doing that here as well. But I just want to make sure that that is fully disclosed up front. Thirdly, the question is, are you just doing this to capitalize on the fact that Cowan dropped his Swampfox review last week and you are hoping to get some attention through association? And my answer to that, you asked too many questions. Yes, kind of, but I'm still going to maintain as much objectivity on this as possible. I want to make sure that I've seen reviews and sponsorships absolutely kill a YouTube channel before and made me lose interest, so rest assured, I am not going to do that. If you feel like I am, let me know, because I cannot stand people that just straight advertise, especially in the midst of their own content. But before I got off on too much of a rant, let's get into what we are talking about today, which is my Swampfox Liberty that I have on this Glock 19, which is my daily carry gun. Why did I decide to look at Swampfox specifically? As mentioned, I'm buddies with Mike, and while I did pay for them, I paid considerably less than retail, so it allowed me to outfit two guns, my carry gun as well as my training gun. And I have, at this point, as of filming the video, I've got about 1,500 rounds on the dot on my training gun. And that is to include Mike Green's covert carry pistol class that I took back in February. At this point, I am comfortable with that round count. I did have the dot on my training gun for about 8 months before I actually mounted the dot to my carry gun. Reason being was twofold. Number one is I was still just working on my presentations so that way I wasn't having to fish for the dot as much. Still happens on occasion, more often than I'd like, but just getting that consistent presentation to where I'm not having to do this anymore. Secondly was I wanted to put an appreciable amount of rounds through it, circumstances dictating with the ammunition availability and all that, before I was personally going to actually bet my life on one. In addition to the 1,500 rounds that I've put on one, the one on my training pistol has also survived one drop unintentionally from about shoulder height onto the porcelain tile of my kitchen my kitchen floor. It was just a fumbled gun. Oh my God, he dropped a gun. Yeah, that happens sometimes. It was cleared and unloaded at the time, so it was as safe a condition as it could have been, but it took a header onto the tile, and only thing that happened was it chipped the tile. I will put a couple of pictures in here as well to give you an idea of kind of the outcome of that, but it didn't shift zero, and the lens survived just fine. The other thing that I found interesting was during that class that was in February, literally the weekend that snowpocalypse hit here in Texas, there was, it was a covert carry class, so every single rep that we were doing was coming out of the holster. So the pistol was going from being pressed up against my, squishy pink body to out into literally 20-degree temperatures repeatedly. I experienced zero condensation or lens fogging of any sort. And I haven't done anything to these lenses, so they just came out of the box, went on the guns, and got zeroed. So I haven't done the cat crap Rain-X stuff that people talk about with these, and I experienced zero obstruction of the lens. I can't say that everybody's experience is going to be like that, but it's definitely something that I think is noteworthy. During the course of that class, there was, I'm going to say, maybe 15 to 24 one-handed manipulations of the pistol, and for those I did use the optic as kind of the charging handle. However, I did not run it off of my belt buckle or off of my holster body. And this is for two reasons. The first being that, and I'll put a little bit of B-roll here to show, I was bundled up and my outermost layer is a leather jacket, and I didn't want to be raking this metal optic body down the front of my bomber jacket. I have subsequently bought some more functionally practical cold weather gear, but at that point that was the warmest crap I had, so you run what you brung. Additionally, Mike's AI Rowdy made the comment of use what you got. However, he caveated that with he is not fond of subjecting pistol optics to any more abuse than is absolutely necessary. So given the choice between running that dot off of a hard surface, like a holster body or a belt buckle or a wall, versus running it off of a more forgiving surface, like what I was doing, was running it off the pocket of my jeans, he is always going to take the less abusive route, because everything breaks eventually. So that was my logic. Again, I'll go ahead and I'll link to Aaron's video if you haven't seen it already. He runs his typical kind of murder course on the dot, and he expresses his opinions on it. I'm not going to try and just plagiarize his work because, well, I mean, number one, that is lazy, and the dude is a much more respected authority on this subject, so I'll let you draw your conclusions from his material as a standalone. That being said, I do believe that the Swampfox Liberty, personally, the Justice is just a larger window version of the same, is worth looking at. If you're going to ask, should you buy one instead of an RMR, that's your call. Nothing is going to be as rugged as the RMR because they have the patents on that kind of owl hood that gives it as much impact resistance as possible. So everything else is going to be less durable. I think it is worth looking at in comparison to, say, the Holosun, just from a standpoint that from anecdotal feedback that I've heard, The Holosuns can be a little bit more limited availability. But in terms of just sheer raw performance, I haven't had enough time on a Holosun to really tell you. Like I said, I gave these things a shot because the circumstances around it were such that I really couldn't say no. But I feel like at this point I've given them a fair shake. I've been rough enough on them that, it's on my carry gun. Like, no bullshit. This is what is on me when I'm carrying a handgun. If that is sufficient, cool. But again, I recommend people test this stuff out themselves anyway, because manufacturing errors happen. They've happened with Holosun, they've happened with Trijicon, they've happened with everybody. So just because XYZ company is putting out a good product en masse doesn't mean that you're not necessarily going to get that Friday 4 o'clock one-off. So vet your gear. I don't want to draw this out too much just because there's not a lot that I really had to talk about on this. I did just want to share my experiences because I have had some people asking about it, and I figured this would be the best place to address it. I do have their LPVO on one of my carbines as well. I've only maybe put about 150 rounds through that at this point. And so I don't have enough time behind it to give a worthwhile assessment. However, I did lend it to a friend of mine that shot a 2-gun competition, and overall his feedback was positive. He found the reticle to be a little bit cluttered for his liking, but in general, he liked the glass clarity, the overall performance, and all that. So that's kind of where we're at. As I said before, I do have an affiliate relationship with Swampfox. The 15% discount code that is in the description is I do get a percentage of that whenever you use it. I appreciate if you do, because that just allows me to invest in better editing software, better mics, and just improving the overall quality of the channel. So if you have any questions on this, please, I want to hear them. Drop them down in the comments below. Again, if you are interested in signing up for the Patreon, I got the link down there. I am floored with all the support, and especially over the last couple of weeks, there has been a ton of great conversation going on, both in the comments section, as well as some more interest in Bespoke Solutions, the Facebook group as well. So please, if you haven't joined that already, I strongly recommend that you do. And yeah, so hope everybody has a great week. Stay sharp and stay safe.